What's going on, guys? I'm Devin, back with a new video, and this one's going to be focused around sit-ups for the fitness assessment. So if you're interested in that, stick around, and I'm going to get into just about everything you'll need to know about how to do your sit-ups the best way and the most effective way. So throughout this, I'm going to be on a bench doing demonstrations for everything. I have a barbell set up to simulate a tow bar that we'll be using for the foreseeable future with COVID-19. So you won't have someone able to hold your feet during your next test more than likely. So you're gonna have to get used to using a tow bar, and so I'm simulating that here today. And while I'm doing everything, I'm gonna explain step by step kind of the things that they go over during the briefing for how to do sit-ups on the fitness assessment right before you test, and to make sure that you're using the most efficient way to do these sit-ups and hopefully helping you get to that at least minimum passing score, if not maximizing your points in it. So now I'm going to transition over to doing the actual portions of the test. So a couple things I want to hit on before I start doing that, just in case I miss them during the demonstration, is you have to have your hands across your chest. They either have to be touching your upper chest or your shoulders, and they cannot move away from your chest at any point in time. You're also not allowed to hold on to your shirt at any point in time during the test. So the hands have to remain pretty much flat, and they still have to be touching. From a side view, to help you out, you can have your hands here, 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 as long as they are in contact with your chest or shoulders throughout the entire duration. It doesn't matter where your hands are on that upper chest or shoulders. With that being said, you also have your knees at a 90-degree angle. That 90-degree angle is pretty important because it can actually help you travel a shorter distance, which is what I'm going to go into next. So when you're doing your sit-ups, you can touch anywhere from your upper thighs to your knees. With that, generally touching your upper thighs is going to be a shorter range of motion than touching your knees, which means you shouldn't go up to touch your knees pretty much ever during the 1 minute of sit-ups, because it's less efficient. You're moving more, which means you're using more energy to move, and therefore you're going to reduce the number of repetitions you can do. Also with that, you want to make sure that throughout the entire exercise, you're breathing. You don't want to hold your breath at any point in time. You just want to breathe fairly normally. Your breathing might get a little bit heavy closer towards the end because of that maximum exertion you'll be doing. But you want to make sure that you are breathing throughout it, and that's going to help you get more repetitions done. The last thing I want to hint on is when you're in that bottom position, first of all, you're not allowed to rest in the down position. So if you're there for more than a second or two, you can get called on the test, and whatever number of repetitions you're at, that could be the end of it. So if you're not at the minimum repetitions, you're kind of screwed, is the best way to put it. So to make sure that you don't rest in the down position, make sure to keep your abdominals engaged during the entire movement. You shouldn't relax in the down position, because that's going to cause you to relax and then have to re-engage to sit back up for the next repetition. Breathe, keep your core engaged, touch your upper thighs, and keep those knees at a 90-degree angle. Those, I think, are the 4 biggest things that we can do. So I'm going to show you each and every one of them and a little bit of demonstration on exactly where those end up being during the exercise and how to make sure you're doing it right. And at the end, I'll add something that I do because I think it engages your core more rather than your hip flexors or your rectus femoris. So right now I'm going to jump into those sit-ups and show you exactly what I'm doing. So I don't have the best setup here, but as far as everything's concerned, knees are at about a 90-degree angle. Feet are anchored underneath the tow bar that I have that's simulated using a barbell and 155 pounds. And then arms, I like to touch my upper chest. It allows your elbows to be a little bit lower, which helps reduce that range of motion. So, as you sit up, you want to make sure your core is engaged, and you sit up to here. Do not move up to here. There is no reason to move up to here when you can touch here. That is a huge range of motion difference, and you don't want to be doing that extra several inches of movement when you don't have to. As soon as your elbows touch, go back down for the next rep. You just keep repping them out. Keep breathing normally, and just do your sit-ups. With all of that being said, sit-ups are one of my least favorite exercises to do, but like all of us in the Air Force and several other branches of the military, we have to do sit-ups as part of our fitness assessments. So, I don't think you specifically need to train sit-ups throughout the year, but it is a good idea to work in the movement leading up to the fitness assessment, because it's going to help you learn how to maximize the efficiency of that movement, even though your core might be strong throughout the year doing other exercises, whether it be other abdominal specific exercises or doing heavy compound lifting that are more stabilization using those core muscles. Also, if you notice, during those sit-ups, I never fully relaxed at the bottom of the sit-up. As soon as my shoulder blades touched, I went right back up into the next repetition. That's really important to keep those core muscles engaged and to keep continually cycling that movement. The last thing that I like to do during the exercise to help keep my core engaged is to do kind of like a hollow body hold. So what that means is you're using your transverse abdominis to help pull in your abdominal muscles. And what that helps do is it helps engage the abdominal muscles more, and that's really helpful, so that way you're maximizing the output that you can get from them. Because throughout the exercise you're going to fatigue regardless of how in shape you are. At a certain point you're going to be slowing down on your repetitions, and you want to maximize the amount of muscle recruitment that you can throughout the entire exercise to get the most amount of reps done. I've also been looking into doing some analysis on some studies on how effective sit-ups actually are and whether or not your hip flexors actually play more of a role in the sit-up than just your abdominal muscles, whether it be your rectus abdominis, your internal obliques, external obliques, transverse abdominis, what have you. So I'm going to do a bit more research on that, but I think maybe next week or the week after I'll come out with a video and hopefully give a better explanation on exactly what goes on during a sit-up, and is the sit-up good for a measurement of abdominal strength, or is something like the crunch much better that helps reduce the range of motion. So if you like this video, please, I appreciate it if you would like it. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts on sit-ups are, and let me know if you want to see that video on an analysis of some studies to see exactly what goes on during the sit-up movement itself. Until then, I'd appreciate a subscribe, but if not, I'll see y'all in the next video.